I'm here at St. Andrew's Church in Glencairn, and I'm going to take you through the church. I'm going to talk about the history of this church, which is based in the deep south, just to give you a bit of an idea of the history of the area where you live and the history of Christianity here as well. Won't you join me? When you get to the building, you see the date when it was made and that plaque. You see this over here. I'm going to talk about those in a minute. You then walk into the church and you can immediately see it is old and it's got that sort of classic feel. Here's the old organ pews. You head through to the front. You can see the cross, Jesus, and various elements. There is this wonderful carving of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And it was crafted in 1920 by William Merrifield and was presented in 2004 by his grandson. So that's quite lovely. Right, so as we came in the front, you saw that stone 1903. So this church was built in 1903 by a group of businessmen from Rondebosch. They were Presbyterians, and they had holiday homes down here in Glencairn, and they wanted a church to meet on Sunday for prayers and worship, and so they got to work to get this built. That the actual master builder was someone by the name of A.B. Reed, and the person who designed it was John Parker. His father, John Parker, was one of the first elders at this Presbyterian church, and A.B. Reed and the father, John Parker, were part of this group of businessmen. Right, so in the 1920s, it's alleged that the church allowed the building to be used for other Christian denominations, although I cannot confirm this. But then in the 1950s, it was given as a gift to the Anglican Church. It was sold for £10, and that money came from a man by the name of Mr. Sinclair Wagner. And since the 1950s, it's been an Anglican church and continues through to this day. At the back of the church, you can see copies of these various cards showing the history of St. Agnes Church, and you can see St. Andrew's Church, and you can see that the church was built in 1903, and if you're ever here on a Sunday, you can come read this yourself. And then it was transferred or purchased in 1950, and you can see the price. It was possible by gift of the purchase price by Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair Wagner. And there's a few of these other lovely artifacts. And you can actually see over here, you can see the signature of Mr. Wagner over there. He was the one who were present at the passing over of St. Agnes to the Anglican Church. Another piece of interesting history here is this collection plate over here. You can see it says St. Andrew's Church, and we can actually see that it was presented by Mr. and Mrs. L. Adams. Difficult to tell when that was actually presented, but I would assume it would be in the 1950s when these cards were made and when the church was given to the Anglican Church. So what is the church being used for today? Well, it's being used for a number of things, including Christian worship, as well as these gardens behind me are used as a market. There is all sorts of activities here. You can see next door in the manse, I'm going to flip the camera around. That building there is the church manse. It was also built in the early 1900s. In that building at the moment lives Mrs. Bromley. She now manages these grounds. Lovely lady who is hard at work in the Glencairn community. As I walk around here and I look at the architecture and I look at this church, it's very clear to me how Christian theology, the same gospel, the same Bible gets expressed through different tribes in different ways at different times. And this obviously comes out of the Presbyterian and the Anglican traditions, of which they are Scottish and English. And you see this all throughout Cape Town. The history of Christianity in Cape Town is very rich and very long, and basically every suburb in Cape Town has some kind of Christian presence. And as you go to the various areas, you see that it looks different and it feels different, but actually there is something that is tying Christianity and Christian history together, which is the same gospel, the same Jesus, the same Savior. Wow. It really is fantastic. So thanks so much for watching this video, which is on the history of Cape Town, the history of Christianity in Cape Town, and of course the history of the South Peninsula region. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.